I would have no problem with that. Yeah. No, I would have no problem with that.
You're getting into some dicey territory, dude.
In this video, we are going to watch Ben Shapiro effortlessly and systematically back a pro-choice bro into a corner. And guys, this one highlights some very interesting aspects of human nature, which we're going to get into. So with that, let's get into the clips.
Happy Halloween, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have an issue with your stance on abortion.
Okay.
Right, so you define life as starting at conception through biology, pretty much. But I think you take the stance that life is intrinsically valuable because it's life. And that's where I disagree. I think there's two things that make life valuable. I think consciousness, the ability to experience pain, senses and stuff like that, and personal identity. In particular, psychological continuity identity. So the fact that we have memories, we have relationships, people have relationships to us. I think those are
Do you need both of those, or is it either or? I just want to clarify your position.
Either or.
Okay, so if it's either or, then people with Alzheimer's have real continuity problems, you can't kill them.
No, because people still have relationships with them though, right? So like just because you have like...
I mean, you have a relationship with them, but with people with advanced stage Alzheimer's, they really don't have a relationship.
Okay, but for the sake of example, like let's say someone dies, right? The family gets to decide what you do with the body. Because I know what you say. When you say, someone says, oh, it's just consciousness, and then they're brain dead, you say, well, can you stab them? No, you can't. Because that's the family's decision what to do with the body. It's the person's decision what they want to do.
So if the family decides to stab them, it's okay to stab the
when they're brain dead? Yeah, if they want to
No, not brain dead. Let's say that you're comatose for a specifically and predictably short period of time, say 9 months.
Say now, well, what is the person... yeah. No. I saw...
Guys, if you get value from these videos, don't forget to chuck a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment because I can't wait to read your thoughts on this one. Back to the clips.
So I would say on the legal grounds, it would depend if what the person put in their will. If the person has made clear statements like, hey, don't pull the plug on 9 months, then don't do that. Because I think the first choice is...
Right, but let's say the person has not made such clear statements. Say the person can't make such clear statements.
So and he's just in a complete coma?
Let's say the person has not drawn up a living will or had conversations like this. They're in a car crash, they get in a coma, you know that in 9 months they're going to come out of the coma and they're going to be fine. Are you allowed to stab? Can the family say, you know what, these 9 months, stab the dude.
Wait, so they're fine, so they're going to get their memories back?
Let's say they don't get their memories back.
Then I would say then that person is dead. And yeah, if the family wants to pull the plug, that's fine. I would have no problem with that, yeah. No, I would have no problem with that. Because that person is dead.
You're getting into some dicey territory, dude.
No, I think that person is dead.
I find these pro-choice, pro-life debates so fascinating because the guys on the pro-life side, if they're well-versed, are basically untouchable in this argument. And it's so interesting to watch the lengths that the pro-choice people will go to and all of the mental gymnastics that they will do to try and justify their ideological position. In my opinion, the pro-choice argument is the one where I've most often seen the darkest and most tribal instincts of human nature highlighted. Like in this video, you can see sometimes the depths that people will sink to without even being cognizant of what they're doing or saying. Now, this gentleman knows deep down somewhere that the position that he's taking is a profoundly disturbing one, but he says it anyway and then proceeds to double and triple down on that position. And this is a very deep topic, and it's something that's far too complicated for this short video, but ultimately, what this boils down to is a conversation of morality. Is it okay to take a human life? And if so, under what circumstances? And the parameters that this gentleman has rather arbitrarily set is when somebody has memories and an identity, as he calls it. So goodbye to people with Alzheimer's and short-term memory loss, and you get the picture. And I think what this clip goes to show is the lack of regard for human life that is espoused by people who are so tribal in their beliefs. But this can only be done by intellectualizing, because practically, he most certainly wouldn't have the guts to kill that person himself. And maybe if he saw the way in which a late-term abortion takes place and wasn't able to just dehumanize these babies from afar, perhaps he would take a different tone. Now let's watch Ben Shapiro finish this guy off, and then I want to talk a bit more about the idea of dehumanization.
Right? And that's the best way to define life, is personal identity and consciousness. That's what makes life valuable.
Right, so I think that, again, if you were to say both, that's too much, and if you were even to say either, I don't think either one of those legs stands on its own. Okay, because what you really mean, this is the thing about having a baby. It's a process of development. Right? And this is the point that I'm making. There's a period in this human life, when that child does not have, or fetus or embryo, whatever you want to call it, when this living thing does not have consciousness and does not have a sense of identity. But in 9 months, it will have consciousness.
Well,
and even then, by the way,
babies
don't have a sense of identity for at least a certain number of months after they're born. I mean,
the babies can recognize their parents' voices after they're born.
That's not a sense of identity. Rats can.
No. I would say it is because it's a form of memory though, right? And that's what I was using.
So are you a Janist? Because animals also have consciousness.
I would say that killing animals is wrong. You have no problem with that.
So just to get this straight. Killing Fluffy the hamster, deeply wrong. Killing a dude who who's going to wake up from a coma in 9 months with memory problems, totally cool. Okay, I mean, that's fine. You can have that position. I'm just not going to put you in charge of the NHS.
So some real cognitive dissonance on display there. Dehumanization refers to when we fail to represent others as human beings, when we objectify them and treat them as animals or objects without any real regard for moral concern. Serial killers, for example, will almost always dehumanize their victims. They become objects to them, objects that are simply a means of them achieving their own sick personal desire. During the Holocaust, the Nazis referred to the Jews as rats or vermin. During the Rwanda genocide, the Hutus would call the Tutsis cockroaches, and during the Cambodian genocide, the Khmer Rouge referred to their enemies as worms. They dehumanized their victims to alleviate themselves of their own moral burden, so they don't have to feel bad about their actions. Now, obviously, this matter is very different to those matters, but the dehumanization, calling them a clump of cells, or we've even heard tumor on this channel before, is absolutely rife in this movement. The main argument is not that women should have the choice to take the human life that is growing inside them that will one day become a human being that will flourish in the world. The argument is that it's not a human being. That is, whichever way you want to look at it, dehumanization. And I remember seeing maybe a year or two ago that Argentina, I think, legalized abortion in the country. And there were thousands of women out on the street celebrating, painting their faces, crying tears of joy. The scenes were actually very reminiscent of when Argentina won the World Cup last year. And I remember just thinking to myself when I saw that, something is not right about that. And you might be pro-choice yourself, but surely you can acknowledge that when there are thousands of women parading through the streets, crying tears of joy and elation about something so morbid as the fact that they get to kill their unborn children, something is seriously not right. And to me, that's the symptom of an increasingly godless culture. One where human life isn't recognized as something with true God-given value, but rather just physical matter. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know below. And if you guys want to check out my clips channel, I've got that up and running. So that'll be my long form content broken down into shorter chapters. And also my travel channel is up and about now. There's going to be lots of different street interviews and exclusive content there. And if you guys want to watch another video, click right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.